The next step, after you've done all of the alphabet in upper and lower case, is to create your own personal logo using these shapes and these shapes. The first thing you need to do, though, is you need to create another page. If you notice at the top up here it says Document Setup. This won't be up here if you have anything on the page selected. If you notice, it's gone away because I have this stuff selected. So using the pointer tool, click somewhere other than on the object to deselect everything, and this will come back. I'm going to click on Document Setup and Edit Artboards. After I've done this, I'm going to hold the Command key down and hit the minus key so that I reduce the size of the page. Holding the spacebar down, regardless of whatever tool you have selected over here, changes the cursor into a little hand. With the spacebar depressed, I'm going to move the page up over here. It's not actually moving the page. What it's doing is it's moving the view of the page. So in this mode, the cursor looks like a little rectangle with a plus on the top left corner. So I'm just going to click and drag a page that's about the same size as the previous one. And I'm kind of lining it up at the same time. Up here at the top of the screen, it shows me what the size of the page is. It's currently 10.6, so I was fairly close, but I'm going to change this to 11 by selecting these three characters, making that 11, and then making this 8.5. Then to get out of this mode, I'm going to tap the Escape key on the keyboard. So now I have a two-page document. At this point, your document is still named the same thing, but I want you to name it something else because this is going to be your final logo. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, make sure that you click on the desktop. If this information is not here on the left-hand side of the screen, click this little arrow over here. That changes the view. Sometimes when you come to the Save As dialog box in any application, this is the only thing you want showing because you're going to always save things on the desktop. If it doesn't say desktop here, click this little down arrow and then click desktop on the left-hand side. We're going to change this to logo. Remember to change a student and P number to your first initial and last name and your period number. I'm going to change it to period 7 because I don't actually have a period 7. And click Save and OK. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these, hold the Option key down. Remember to always hold the Option key down, and drag them from one page to the other. Rearrange them so that you can see them all side by side. And then you're going to select your two initials, both the upper and lower case initials, and drag them over here also. I'm just going to choose a couple of my favorite initials. I've selected these ones. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and select these ones. Then holding the Option key down, I'm going to click and drag these over here. Once again, hold the Command key down and tap the letter S to automatically save the document. Then I'm going to select all of these at the same time. Go to my color palette. I'm going to select the outline by clicking this lower box. The top box is the fill. The lower box is called the stroke, which is also the outline. I'm going to make this none so that the outline disappears. Then I'm going to click on the fill and make that black. And close this box by clicking these two double arrows. Then, just so that you can see what's going on, I'm going to select these letters, go back to my color palette, click on the stroke, and make them yellow so that they show up against the other background. Then one by one I'm going to select different characters holding the Option key down and make them fit somewhere inside these shapes. You can use the upper and lower, or just the upper or just the lower if you want to go to the next level on this. You can do both. Next level being sort of an extra credit scenario. Remember, if you want to do both the upper and lower case for all of these, you're going to have to duplicate these also. And again, I'm just holding the Option key down as I drag these things over. In order to see everything that's on this page, hold the Command key down and tap the 0. Not to be confused with the O, because the O is right below it on the keyboard. And that will show me full screen the page that I'm currently using. Then you just need to rearrange these characters so that they fit within those ovals, or those diamonds, or those triangles, squares, etc. If you notice when you put the cursor next to this object, it changes. Changes from a regular arrow to an arrow with a point on it. The arrow with the point on it means I'm about to select something or something is already selected. When I move the arrow to the corner, notice how it turns into two arrows. You can click that and reduce the size of your letters so that it fits inside the area of the oval. It's actually kind of fun to overlap it a little bit, because the last thing I'm going to have you do before you save all of these, once they're on top of all of these objects, is you're going to change the stroke to white so that it looks like this. Then you can continue to play around with the letters and fit them into the area. Please play around with this with the letters overlapping the edge of the shapes. It makes for a much more interesting logo. So do all of these and just play around with the various shapes, making sure that the text is white. I'm going to do Command 0. I'm not going to continue on this particular one because I want you to play around with it and see what you can come up with. And that's step 2 of creating a logo.